This video is late and I don't even know how late it actually is and I'm embarrassed. Yes, it's possible even for people as wonderful and cool, as humble as me to feel embarrassment. I'm embarrassed. Embarrassed, and did I mention sexy too? Not as sexy as this Valentine's Day spider I'm making for Valentine's Day and for Black History Month, both occasions existing for the purpose of love. In fact, if you're watching this, I've already decided that it's still February, Valentine's Day specifically, so happy Valentine's Day and happy Black History Month. And I can still say that because Valentine's Day falls within the first half of the month, which involves light skins. So yeah! Yeah! For this spider, we're starting from the back and working our way to the front. So the roundish shape you see in the middle there that I made isn't the head, but actually the abdomen of this Valentine's babe. And if you're an astute watcher, an elite employee, then you'd be able to guess that the round tubes I'm cutting here are going to be the stalks that shoot out of the abdomen. Stalks that will be whimsically heart-shaped. And to make the heart shape, I roll it out at a slight angle, make it pointy, then I use the silicone tool to add the indent at the top. And to ensure that you can actually see the heart shape, I cut the top at a slight angle. And oh, isn't this so cute already? I don't want to see any phallic references in the comments because no phallus is this cute. To attach it, I wrap a small clay tube around the base and scrape it in both directions so that it connects to both the top and the bottom, and then I smoosh it with the same silicone tool from before. And these two are special because they're going to be in the back and therefore will be cut at a steeper slope so that you can still see the heart from the front. Then I do the same thing back there as I did up here, which is scrape, scrape, then smoosh, smoosh. Oh, so whimsical! Lastly, I need to make some teeny ones to go at the front, and these ones will be the smallest and slightly conical. It's hard to tell, but I'm rolling the clay at an angle to get that cone shape as you see here. It took a bit of trial and error because at first I thought they were too tall, then too short, then uneven, then I liked the shape of the second one better than the first one, so I pried the first one off, tried to make it more like the second one, you know how it is. But then I got it and the whole thing looked marvelous. Then of course I had to scrape, scrape, smoosh, smoosh. Rah! Second tinfoil appearance! This is one of those spiders that doesn't have a thorax, or you could say the head and the thorax are one big thing, so I'm making that Thorhead now. I make it the same way I made the abdomen when I was doing all that yapping in the beginning. So I roll up some tinfoil, cover it with clay, cut away the excess with an X-Acto knife, and smoosh out the seam with my new acrylic rolling tool that I just love, because now I don't have to use a marker or a paintbrush or anything crazy like that. And now I'm doing open brain surgery on this thing because it was a little too big and I want to nestle nicely under those two front hearts, not obstruct them, so goodbye tinfoil gray matter. Next up, this lady has some cheeks on her. I don't mean for clapping, I mean she got her buccal fat removed. Doesn't it look like hip joints there? Anyway, look at that heart. It's subtle, you don't really see it as much in the end, but it's there. Will this spider have two buck teeth? No! She's not even a fry cook! I'm simply using my ball tools to make room for her chelicerae. And like every sexy little lady spider, I'm also going to give her a mustache that's not a mustache to go with her chelicerae. This lady has very specific eyes, and therefore this is a perfect time to tell you that I did not come up with this spider from scratch. My bad. You need to leave! I did come up with the Valentine's Day concept with the heart stalks and the rhinestones and whatever myself, but the idea for that stemmed from my actual favorite spider, the Brazilian crab spider, because she's so little and she's so sweet and look at her wand, she's so cool. I need to stop or else I'm gonna spend the next hour swinging my feet like a little girl looking at pics of her. So anyways, I made this tiny heart shape inspired by the markings that can be sometimes found on the Brazilian crab spider, and because, well, if I gotta set a theme, I'm gonna make sure to make it as OD as possible. Last thing, before I bake both of these, I have to make and throw on some ball joints, which will be a big help with the legs later. Pretty visually self-explanatory, but I cut a log of clay into equal parts, then I roll those in balls and attach them. I put in a piece as a placeholder for the mini arm, and then I start attaching the balls one by one with the scrape and smoosh. Okay. Ready? Ready? Nothing. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I attached them all. Since my ultimate goal with the ball joints is to have a means to connect the legs to the Thorhead, I also need to throw in space for the wire by first plotting out where I'm going to stab and then stabbing in that place. Semi-last thing, because I do include this as a part of the ball joint, so I didn't technically lie to you. So, semi-last thing to do is to make the pedipalps, which the cool nerds apparently call palps, which are the little arms at the front there. And to sell some sort of realism here, I scrape the underside downward, flip over the pedipalps, before adding some tasteful indents. And if you ever wondered what the pedipalps do, they help the spider or tarantula manipulate the prey. So imagine their legs as arms and their pedipalps as fingers. I hope that helps to give you guys nightmares this Valentine's Day. So imagine this, alright? Imagine this. Imagine me placing the two pieces on the tinfoil, marveling at my work, ready to bake them. But, like the steady feeling in the back of your mind that we are slowly turning into a fascist country, I had a nagging feeling that the stalks were just too darn tall. So I fixed them, and then I marked them with 2 silver dots so that I'd know where to poke holes for the wire, which I almost forgot to do, and therefore would have been fucked when trying to connect these post-bake. So, it's a good thing that I listened to that nagging feeling and started burning down data center. I started making holes for the wires. The work iPad has made a guest star appearance to help me get a good idea of the ratio of leg to Thorhead, so I folded some wires, attached the 2 pieces together for optimal posing, since I need to make sure the legs weren't bumping too much into each other or into the abdomen, and then obsessed over this position for a truly unnecessary amount of time. Ugh, it's really me and my lime green embroidery thread against the world! If you forgot from the last time I made a spider, I wrap all the wires for the legs in embroidery thread so that the clay has something solid to adhere to instead of slipping off the wire and diminishing my will to live. This also works better than rashing the wire with sandpaper or something, because with the thread, it adds ridges to the wire for the clay to hang onto instead of just a rougher texture. Oh. Onto the legs, I guess. I wish I could blink and the legs would just be done with, but adversity makes your tits grow bigger, or whatever Gandhi said. I don't know. I wrapped the wire in clay, but very importantly, I covered the joints with clay too. Not too tightly, but still. Ooh. Yeah. It looks insane here, I know. You know what it looks like? It looks like a cousin of the Xavier Renegade Angel, but also like that emoji with big feet if the feet were backwards, but also like that baby from Toy Story 1. But okay, anyways, I didn't adhere the legs to the joints so that I could pop them off easily and reattach them easily too. And when I popped them off, I labeled the leg and the joint so that I'd know which goes which, and then I got to sanding. You can't see the difference all that well, but trust me when I say it does indeed make a very noticeable difference. Just not noticeable on camera, I guess. So here's the thing. When inspecting the Brazilian crab spider, I realized it's kind of sitting on its front legs the same way a cat would, so I had to reshape the wire to express that. And the making of the 4 front legs was basically the same as the making of the 4 back legs, but I realized they have more of a curve, so I made it do some squats to thicken those thighs, and once that was done, the legs looked more cohesive to the rest of the spider. And since these legs close in on each other, to smoosh the inside seam, I opened the leg up before adding the clay, then closed it back once the clay was on. After that, I rolled out some clay to surround the last bit, like wrapping a Taco Bell burrito supreme with extra Diablo sauce and a Baja Blast Zero, being careful about the inner corner where the clay is thinnest so that the wire doesn't accidentally peek out. From there, it's just about adding the small details like the lines where the different leg joints separate, curving out the inner legs, you know. Once again, very important. I want the legs to be able to pop right off like I'm sure all of you did on your Valentine's Day dates. So I added some clay to the leg where it meets and covers the joints without actually adhering it to the joints so that it'll slip right on and off. With the front legs labeled and done, I put it all together and realized the back legs looked mad fucking weird. Like, weirder than they already do. And I thought it was because the pair at the very back looked taller than the second to last pair, which is because, if you remember, the joints were attached on a curve. Long story short, I made the very back legs over from scratch, but slightly shorter so that the 2 bends line up with each other. Now all the parts are done, sanded, and voila. Truly one of my best works. Yippee! Yay! Time to paint! All of my cool subscribers know that I actually created yet another poll asking you all what you think the color scheme should be for this one. And with the choices being pink, lavender, or baby blue, the winner was obviously pink. Quite fitting for Valentine's Day, if I may say. I wanted there to be a contrast between the 2 body parts, so I painted the abdomen white and the Thorhead and the legs pastel pink. With the base layer done, I made a hotter pink for blushing the joints, To blush the joints, I did what I do, which is dip each end of the paintbrush into each color of pink so that I can then paint on this sexiest gradient your mortal eyes will ever see. After that, I take a dry brush and clean off the excess. See the difference? Doing this really brings the bug to life every time and is a step that should not be overlooked on the off chance that any of you actually use my videos as a tutorial to make your own bug. And if you do, please DM it to me on my Instagram so that I can see. I'm not even joking when I say it would literally make my day. But anywho, I abused my gradient powers wherever I saw fit, including the calycery, the heart, the joints, and then I thought her little feet should actually be all hot pink, because why not? And also, the feet of the Brazilian crab spider are different colors, so I had to steal that sleigh. I painted the heart white to tie in the front with the abdomen, taking my sweet ass time so that it didn't mash up the gradient around it. You could argue that I should have done it white first, gradient second, but I don't care. One of my favorite things about the spider is this eye design that it has. It reminds me of really accentuated sad eyebrow look that you see in vintage makeup looks and in princess art. Very feminine, very demure, and after laying that down I went ahead and painted the eyes. It was very important to me to glaze the legs and the Thorhead and the abdomen all separately. I glazed the Thorhead over the course of 2 days so that I could glaze the underside, then flip it over and glaze the top side. With the legs and the Thorhead done, I could move on to the abdomen. I used a bright red color for the hearts, but I actually grew to hate it. It was too much. It took away from the pinks, I think. It took away from the rhinestones. It was killing me, and I was in denial. My editor had mercy on you all by whittling down the parts where I painted these over and over and over with a slightly pinker red and then another slightly pinker red and then another one after that. I even added in the white accent hearts, but I still wasn't done. I kept going until I finally landed on this. My next big mistake was thinking I should have a gradient going down the stalks so that they could help blend the rhinestone. But I very quickly realized that that would be insane, so I covered that up and glazed the entire thing. When the glaze was fully dry, I dove right into the rhinestones. I actually had the idea to make this spider concept while I was in the midst of adding the rhinestones to my last project, the Starry Night Beetle. It should come as a shock to none of you, since I went on and on and on about it in the last video, but I just love rhinestones. I never knew I had such a passion for rhinestones until I made the Starry Night Beetle, and now I'm going to try to make bugs that incorporate rhinestones as often as possible. I even have a few ideas for some other bugs, but you gotta subscribe and stay tuned for that. If you have any bugs in mind that you think would be awesome with the addition of rhinestone, leave those suggestions in the comments. Back to my sweet spider, I did 2 rows of each rhinestone color, starting with 2 rows of that dark pink right around the rim, then 2 rows of that rosy pink, and then, lastly, 2 rows of white. The only thing left is to attach all the pieces with crazy glue, and we're done. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want Valentine's Day flowers. Please check out my store link in the description below if you want a bug of your very own, like this butterfly I finished for somebody just last week. Thank you so much to everyone for your ongoing support. It genuinely means so much to me, and I hope to see you for the next one. Bye!